was 19 when I came to town. They called it the summer of love. They're burning babies, burning flags, the hawks against the dove. Well, I took a job in the steamy down on Cauldron Street. The little never the lovely girl that was working next to me. She was a rare thing, as fine as a bee's wing, so fine a breath of wind might blow her away. She was a lost child, she was running wild, and she said as long as there's no price in love I'll stay. They wouldn't want me any other way. Morning, everybody. I was playing some Irish music this morning because next week is our Irish service. So I hope you guys come out. There'll be a lot of sing-alongs and fun stuff. So, so Chrissy is up, right? Good morning.
Thank you, John. Good morning, everyone. I welcome all of you here, live stream, here in our sanctuary. And I just want to share, to start out with, our mission. And our mission is we are a heart-centered, multi-generational, and a diverse spiritual community dedicated to teaching and practicing a positive life approach in our spiritual journey. And our vision is a world united in loving acceptance, celebrating inclusivity, harmony, prosperity, and awakened consciousness. Again, I welcome everybody here today. I'm excited that you are all here, and including the snow, but it's beautiful out, so thank you for joining us. And at this time, I'm going to have Catherine come up and light our Christ candle. Join me in a moment of opening prayer. Sweet Catherine, lighting the Christ candle that is the light within each of us. As we gather together today, here in this sacred space, in your own sacred space, we are blessed beyond belief to have this community, whether it be in person or virtually. We know that we are all connected. We pray that you give divine guidance to everyone working on this service today, that all may hear the words and the message through music and through the spoken word, that we may be uplifted and guided through your divine guidance. Thank you for the blessings of this community. In your name, amen. Now I'm going to turn it back over to John. Oh, wait, no, we have the children. Sorry. Girl after my own heart. Okay, Catherine.
I ask that you rub your hands together. We see you surrounded in the light of God.
We see you surrounded in the light of God.
And we hold you close in our hearts.
And we hold you close in our hearts.
Okay, so I'm up now. So these are a couple of the songs we used to sing a lot back in the old days. One is a request, another one is another one I like. So please sing along. Weave us together in unity. together in unity love. A moment ago, sleeping in no our unity, only diversity. Christ in agrees that Christ in thee, in one great family weave us together in unity and love. Weave us together in unity and love. Together. Took that a little fast. Sorry about that. Love and wisdom, faith and power, they are mine, yes, they are mine. Strength and order, will and judgment, all are mine, and let them shine. Life and seal imagination, they are mine, yes, they are mine. Understanding and forgiveness, all are mine, and let them shine. To the Christ I now surrender, all are my faculties divine. Christ now guides them to fulfillment, so to let my true love shine.
Thank you, John. And I don't know if you know, that was a song from our hymnal that Sweet Sue Ellen told us about and said, we need to sing this today because our talk today from the board is going to be about the 5 of the 12 powers. So I love that song. We need to sing that a little more often. Okay. So I'm now going to introduce Colleen. She is going to read the Daily Word, which is our publication, been around for many years. It's a great way to start our prayer meditation and every day to start the day with Daily Word. Colleen.
The word for today is illuminate. I welcome the light. Taking a moment to appreciate the beauty of a sunset, I realized that in another part of the world, the first rays of a rising sun are bringing light to a morning sky. Whether I can see it or not, the sun never stops shining. Somewhere, a new day is dawning. Much more brilliantly than the sun, the light of God, too, is always shining. Sometimes my thoughts may be so focused on challenging life situations that I do not sense this divine light. Then, in a flash of insight, I experience again the illuminating presence that, even in my darkest moments, is as near as my next thought. I affirm, let there be light. I breathe out frustration and worry. Breathing in, I am filled with the light of truth that illuminates my mind and shines from within my heart. Then God said, let there be light, and there was light. Genesis 1:3. The word for today is illuminate.
What a beautiful reading. Now it's time for our meditation. Center yourself comfortably where you are sitting. Relax your shoulders. Let go of the busyness thoughts in your mind. Let that light shine. Open your palms up for receiving or down for grounding. A deep breath in, breathing in all that's good, breathing in that true light. Releasing that breath, letting go of all that doesn't serve us. The darkness, breathe that out. Breathe in the light starting from your feet, bringing it up through your body, through all the chakras, up through your head. I'm going to ring the singing bowl and let that vibration, that heart chakra, vibrate in your soul in this time of meditation, in this time of prayer. Breathing all in that is good, all that beautiful illuminating light. We know that the 12 powers shape our lives. Reverend Margot Ford wrote this beautiful poem for our meditation today. Think about these words. Breathe in and breathe out. We choose to live our lives with zeal, and every moment faith to feel. So strength can be what we are about, through release of all doubt. We have the power to succeed and all the wisdom that we need to let order out of chaos reign through understanding on a deeper plane. My imagination lights a million fires. Our will gives shapes to each desire. So life is good, fulfilled and free, and love is who we will always be. And in the stillness of this moment, as we breathe in and breathe out, we are at peace. With each breath, we draw upon that divine peace. We are one with the now and demonstrate this power of peace. We enfold all of our concerns in a cushion of calm. We think peaceful thoughts and hold peaceful intentions. Our body, minds, and spirits are centered in that divine peace. We are one with the divine mind, and we realize that infinite potential. All things are possible when we realize oneness with God. In prayer, we seek insight, understanding, and spiritual knowledge about hopes and dreams. We rise into a state of understanding, poised and confident in the promise of fulfillment. Breathing in a nice inhale of God's sweet spirit, of God's light. An exhale of release. All of life is divine and is present everywhere we are. We shine the light of divine life throughout our body, blessing and strengthening every structure and space, every atom and system. Vision your body with that divine light flowing through you, strengthening you. All of God and all of divine life is fully present within and around us. We celebrate wholeness of divine life in each of our bodies. All that can be in divine abundance. Breathing in, inhaling abundance, exhaling lack of abundance. We are gifted with abundance. Let us recognize the power of God that is abundance. Let us find within all the resources that we long for, all the creative imagination, all the supportive wisdom, all the willing enthusiasm. We envision the desired road ahead. We listen and follow the inner wisdom. We proceed with positive anticipation of divine abundance given to each of us. We open our heart to the oneness with all people, centered in one power, the power of God. We hold our hearts open to all people. We heal our thoughts of separation in the unifying power of divine love. In the integrity of the truth, we know. We insist on harmony in our thoughts and acts. We are one with God and one with all. And as we hold these thoughts, these positive thoughts, this divine light filling each one of us, we go to our heart center in a time of silent meditation to listen to that still small voice that is always with us, that knows our prayers, that knows what we need before we ask. And in this silence, we go to our inner heart. bringing your thoughts back to the present, gently coming back to the present. We know that our prayers are answered. We now lift up our prayers for ourselves, for those around us, for those we love, for situations, for anything that's heavy on our heart. We lift that up to Sweet Spirit, knowing that those prayers are held, received and held. And at this time, speak aloud the names that they are shared, the names, situations. And as you speak them aloud, know that you are releasing them to that Sweet Spirit. My sweet Martha, Sue Ann, Reverend Sandy, the Board of Trustees, Susan and Kevin, all those in need of healing prayer, my sweet sister, my niece and nephew, my sweet mama, HJ and Sharon, Janet, Together we have released these names to the infinite universe of prayers. We've released these truths for ourselves as we pray together for the peace and understanding of life, for the abundance and love that is given to each of us. Blessed beyond a belief, we are grateful. Amen.
Holy, 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 I am, holy, 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 I am, holy, 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 I am, holy, 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 I am. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. That's a chorus at the end, so if you guys want to sing along, that'd be great. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. And the second part is everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. God, you are every mountain. God, you are every ocean. God, you are every canyon, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every morning. God, you are every nightfall. God, you are every moment, every instance of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. God, you are every sunrise. God, you are every moon glow. God, you are every star shine, every inch of earth and sky. God, you are every springtime. God, you are every snowfall. God, you are every season, every second of my life. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. 'Cause you are the very breath I breathe, and your perfect love created me. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I do, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you. Everything I see, everything I do, everything I am is you. Everything above, everything below, everything I know is you.
Good morning. I'm Tamara Ash.
Back in the States, so to speak, and is on her way home. So your Board of Trustees, we have each picked one of the 12 powers that spoke to each of our hearts that we are going to talk about. And our opening power is going to be presented by our Board President, Ms. Tamara Ashley.
Good morning. I'm Tamara Ashley, currently president of your Board of Trustees. Each of the 5 trustees will be sharing one of the 12 powers with you today. The 12 powers are the 12 fundamental aspects of our divine nature, which comprise the pattern for perfection within us. Our work is to develop our 12 spiritual facilities so that we might become the full expression of our Christ nature. Our increasing awareness of our 12 facilities will enable us to express them in creative and useful ways. Spiritually, the powers exist in our minds as divine ideas. Symbolically, they are the 12 disciples of Jesus. Literally, they are the 12 centers of energy within everyone. The 12 powers are faith, strength, judgment, love, power, imagination, understanding, will, order, zeal, elimination, and life. You will hear the 12 powers listed again as others speak this morning. I have chosen the power of will. Will is the ability to choose, to lead, and decide. The disciple is Matthew. He represents the decision-making part of the brain, which is located at the front of the brain. The corresponding color is silver. When you find yourself confronted by a strong will that insists that you go their way, someone who forcefully wants you to agree to their point of view, or participate in an activity that you are not comfortable with, turn to Christ, the God self, the spiritual core of your nature, and silently say to the other person, "The Christ in me beholds the Christ in you." We're each born with Christ in us. Let the love of God and the understanding of the spiritual nature of that other person pour forth from you so strongly that there's no conflict of human wills. Rather, there's a higher power at work establishing harmony and order. Wouldn't the world be a better place if this happened more frequently? And I would like to end with a meditation on the power of will by Reverend Bronte Colbert. My spiritual will is the energy of confident living, decision-making, and my determination. My power of choice helps me stand strong and resilient when I feel challenged. I'm able to respect the preferences of others while maintaining my own healthy boundaries. I make decisions that are grounded in my positive nature and expect them to unfold with perfect, joy-filled outcomes. I notice and appreciate the synchronicities and sacred moments that are filled with the unmistakable presence of God. My mind, my heart, and my inner being recognize and rejoice in the infinite possibilities life offers me. From an elevated spiritual view, I make choices that are life-affirming and growth-oriented. Thank you, Reverend Colbert, and thank you, my fellow Unity congregants.
And thank you, Tamara. Good morning. I chose to talk about the power of elimination, which is also called at times renunciation or release. And you know, really, it's the most least glamorous of all the 12 powers. And I never really thought too much. It's not like faith, love, enthusiasm. It's elimination. And in Charles Fillmore's time, you know, he and Myrtle, if you know this, he and Myrtle had gone through a process of self-healing and using their spirituality to, in Myrtle's case, cure herself of tuberculosis, and in Charles' case, to lengthen a leg which had been shortened in a childhood accident. So Charles really did tie the powers closely to bodily functions and aspects. So when he was talking about elimination, and the color, by the way, is brown, and the disciple is Thaddeus, he was really talking about the process of elimination. We've expanded on some of the ways that Charles originally designed the 12 powers, because I think he was writing about 140 years ago, give or take. It's been a little while, but the 12 powers are sure still classics. So I put up this definition just to show you ways in which, you know, we could take this, and obviously we can't do all this today, but it can be my ability to just give a no thank you to what doesn't suit me, especially in response to something that's untrue, undesirable, or worn out. It's my ability to forgive, to free myself, to break bad habits, to not be controlled, and to let go. And it kind of uses the vacuum principle. You know, according to the old Zen parable, you can't pour new ideas into a glass that's already full of water. It just runs out. You have to create some space for something new to happen. What we're releasing might not even be bad. It's just time for it to go. So I want to use an example today about the true physical process of release. And before you fear that this may be too graphic, I just want to tell you it's a story about house training dogs to go potty outside where they're supposed to go. I was born in 1951, but by the time I kind of became cognizant as a child, it was probably at least the late 50s or early 60s. And at that time, the general wisdom about and at that time they used house breaking, and I'm going to say why I don't like that, but that's what we said, house breaking a dog. involved some ideas that, for one thing, if the dog made a mistake and went potty in the house, you were supposed to rub their nose in it. Yes, yes. Or you hit them with the rolled up newspaper. Now, everything in, and to just be a disclaimer, my family did not pursue that method. We did have dogs. But everything in me just kind of revolts against that. I mean, and I know who you people are. I've been here with you guys. I was here on Pet Remembering Sunday. I know what you're like. So if indeed you ever grew up in that era, I know that none of you would do that now. For one thing, it's easy to train a puppy. You just, after they eat or after they wake up, you just take them outside. They do their thing. You have to take them. You're training them. They do their thing. You pick them up and you kiss them all over. You pet them, you hug them, you say, "What a good dog." They love that stuff because dogs want to please us. They'll learn as their physical system, matures. So it's just totally incomprehensible that you would try another way. I remember Jesus said, and I'm probably misquoting this to somewhat because I didn't look it up, but he said to those people who might be parents, "Which one of you, if your child asked for a loaf of bread, would give them a snake?" And then he said, "So your Father in heaven loves you even more than you as physical parents love." So would God give us a snake if we were asking for bread? No, he wouldn't. So how is it that we sometimes, maybe in the past, I hope, but maybe some now, treat ourselves so harshly and so impatiently when we feel the need to release something? We can be so loving to other people, children or dogs perhaps, other people, but when, we're trying to release something, it may be something like, "Be better, do better. How could you do that? Hurry up and change. Why are you still doing that? I can't believe you're so stubborn and dumb that you can't, change." So that, it just strikes me right now that's kind of like rubbing our nose in what we're doing that we're not supposed to be doing. But I think that we have to realize that releasing is a process. When a little puppy is 6 or 7 weeks old, they really don't perhaps have the muscular control or the impulse control to do everything perfectly at first. But we know that investing a few weeks, months into this process yields lifelong results. So I was thinking today, I want to end this with mention of a song, because I think that, I often look to ego to manage that letting go process. That's how I manage most stuff in my life. And we just kind of write out or skim over God. But, and this is why I like to sing so much. I might sing a voice here if I indeed release my fear of being flat. But music is just a way that bypasses all that head stuff and reminds us that we connect with Spirit, we connect with God. We don't have to release all that on our own. I'm curious, how many of you know or remember Richard McDeesey? Some of you are new enough that I know Susan, Kevin would, probably Joanne would remember him. But he has a song, "I'm Letting Go of Holding On." And I'm gonna step away from the mic here because the purpose is not for me to sing this, it's for you to sing it with me. So you'll bring that into spirit. You can maybe give me a starting note, John, like what, C perhaps? There's a little bit of a range in this, but I want you to sing it with me, please, if you know it. Yeah, well give me a starting, all right, I'm gonna get away from here. Okay, thanks. Okay, this is how it goes. I'm letting go of holding on. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. I'm letting go of holding on. Seeking first the kingdom of God. We breathe in, we breathe out, it's all give and take. we're one with each other, for all of goodness sake. The loaves and the fishes were blessed and released, and barely enough turned into a feast. I let go of feelings that feed on lack and greed. I let go of the reasons for keeping me in need. I let go of the fear that there's never enough, and I stop holding on to what is not love. So there, that's your, please. I just wanted to bring that song back to you because that's your go-to when you want to skip this old head and go to spirit. So we release, I just say let's release with gentleness, with love, and with spirit. And please, don't be rubbing your own nose into stuff. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue Ellen.
All right, thanks, Sue Ellen. I'm going to bring the head back into things with my power, which is understanding. And this power is defined as our ability to know, perceive, and apprehend truth. The disciple is Thomas, and the color is gold. And what I love about this power is I feel like it does bring in our mind back into the picture, and I think the power of it is it really helps us connect this wisdom that we just somehow know in our bodies or in our souls, and when we hear the words or we see the images that, bring that wisdom we already know into our minds and something that we can sort of work with and think about and integrate into our lives. So I love this quote by Unity author Winifred Wilkinson Hausman, which goes, "To put it simply, wisdom knows, understanding knows why. When your understanding is developed in both your head and feet, not only will you have the light in mind, but you will also be able to apply it in your world." And I think where understanding really starts is with questioning. We can only understand what we look to investigate, right? And I think we're all really born with this power. I think it's almost a superpower that we come into the world with, and anyone that works with kids definitely knows this. It shows up really strong in kids who are always asking why to everything. And sometimes they can feel a little too inquisitive. I know a couple months ago I was with my niece who's 4 years old. And, we're sitting talking, and she pointed at my face and she goes, "Why do you have that big red bump on your face?" Thank you, Lucy, for pointing out my zit. And I embarrassingly tried to explain what acne was to her, and I realized I didn't really know why I had this on my face. And so sometimes, it can feel a little silly or a little embarrassing, but sometimes, too, I think that childlike questioning can really help us tap into something deeper and something that maybe we've forgotten as adults. I remember when I was a teenager, I was babysitting a 6-year-old boy, and he was really interested in the sky. And so he was asking me, "Why is the sun the brightest star in the sky?" And I looked at him and I said, "Jacob, it's the biggest star, so that's why it's the brightest." And he kind of cocked his head and he looked at me and he was like, "No, it's not." And I was a little embarrassed because I realized he was right. The 6-year-old boy knew more about astrology than I did. But it did make me pause. And in my defense, his dad was an aerospace engineer, so I think they had a lot of conversations about space at home. But it did make me stop for a minute and just think, when did I stop wondering about this miracle mystery that is the sky and the stars and the sun and the planets? when did I just accept it is what it is and stop wondering, how did that get there? What can I learn from that? And I just think that's really true. As we grow up and we get so busy with the day-to-day life stuff and distracted, it's easy to forget to get curious and tap into that inner childlike desire to understand. And so, as I reflected on this, I feel like this is a power I'm very much working on in my own life. So I don't know that I have a ton of wisdom to leave you all with. So I'll just instead share a personal story and where I think my journey goes next with this power. What really came up for me as I reflected on how this power showed up in my life is with my younger brother. And growing up, I grew up in a big family, but one of my brothers was always a little different. He was the most sensitive of all the kids. And so we'd play games, and it would almost always end with him, in tears, running to mom, upset. And, he didn't handle the teasing we'd all do like the rest of us did. He would always, feel much more sensitive and affected by that. And so growing up, we always wanted to put him in this box of like, here's how our family behaves, and you aren't fitting in the box. So we'd get frustrated with him, We'd all be wanting to do a family activity of a game, and he wouldn't want to participate. It's like, we can never get him to fit in the mold. I think we really gained a new understanding with him when in high school he was diagnosed with autism. And all of a sudden, it made us take that step back of realizing this is just who he is. This is just how he's wired. And it's not the same as us, but that doesn't make it wrong. And that understanding gave me that ability to look at him differently, to feel differently towards him, to access more compassion, more understanding, and also to help me build my relationship with him differently, to look for ways to connect with him that made sense to him and didn't just make sense to me. So it's still very much a work in progress, but the big lesson I learned from that is, I think there is this truth of we all have divinity in ourselves. There's divinity in every other person, and we all have humanness too. And that humanness shows up in very unique ways in each of us. Some might feel a little more annoying versions of humanness than others. But I think the more that we can understand that truth and understand that in others, it really allows us to love better, both ourselves and others. So that's really how that power has shown up for me, and I really think the next step of my journey is not needing a medical diagnosis or an explanation or a story from somebody to be able to appreciate who they are and the divinity in them. So my homework, if this power speaks to you, I encourage you to participate in this too, is to apply the power of understanding this week. One of the things I want to do is just reflect on what is something that I've accepted, and maybe it brings up some frustration or confusion or anger. And where can I tap into that inner 6-year-old and just ask a new question, get curious about it, and try to understand it in a different way? And how does that power show up in that situation? So that's all. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here, and thank you for watching on live stream as well. My topic for the topic of the 12 powers is imagination. And imagination is not just one of our powers, but is one of our greatest gifts. Imagination is our internal vision movie screen on which we play our thoughts, desires, fantasies, wishes, and creations among limitless other things. Sure, we all imagine great and mighty things, but we are quick to dismiss them as fantasy, impossible, or never could be's. But our imagination is significantly more powerful and important than we may realize. It is our spiritual guide that allows us to conceptualize, to envision, and to attract that which we want to materialize in our lives. Our imagination brings into existence our lives as we know it. Most of us are totally unaware of this creative power of our imagination. The power of I am speaks of God's power within us, and our imagination is the creative power within us which allows our every thought to become reality. We are all part of the existence we call God. If you hear the word God, Jehovah, the word Jesus, or Christ, and you think of something other than yourself, I invite you here to think back to yourself and any other human being on earth. We are all individually and collectively the I in the I am God. Neville Goddard, who is a spiritual speaker, explains, excuse me, it's powerful, that Matthew chapter 16 equates the Son of Man with the I of man. Not the I of which we see, but the I, the consciousness, the self-awareness of man, your human imagination. This I of man, this self-awareness, is the Christ. Christ is defined as the Son of God, the power of God, and the wisdom of God. When you say, I before anything, that is the power, the wisdom, and the Christ in God, in all of us. You cannot separate the power of God and the wisdom of God from God. Therefore, we and God are one. If we and God are one, then all creation comes from the God within us and from the limitlessness of our imagination as our guide. Imagination is a part of the law of attraction and can be used to our benefit as well as our disservice. Use not your imagination to invoke fear, dread, desperation, and the like unto yourself and to those around you, but rather delight in the limitless fruits of your imagination to attract and materialize into existence that which you desire to physically materialize in your life. This very church once was but an image in our minds of what could be. Through dedication, patience, perseverance, and steadfast commitment to that image, we gather here today in comfort, safety, and love of what began as an image in our minds, in our imagination. Our lives as they are and as they will become are based on this same fundamental principle. I invite you to stand in the light of your limitless imagination and marvel at the vastness of its limitlessness. Let it take you to the ends of the universe and back. Let your creativity reign, knowing that Christ in you is magnified by your imagination, and your life is enriched, empowered, and strengthened by this wondrous gift inside each of us. Imagine the best for your life, all that you want, all that you dream, all that you wish. Ponder the possibilities of what will come into existence to change your life in extraordinary ways when you dare to imagine. Let imagination inspire you, motivate you, and gravitate you toward all that you want out of life, and guide those same desires back to you and into your living reality. Live, enjoy, and behold the Christ imagination in yourself and in each of us. Thank you.
Okay, I'm last. I have big acts to follow. Wow. Was this good for you guys? Wow. Okay, so my power that I picked, and I loved Colleen talking about superpower. This particular power spoke to me, but I wore the wrong color today because my word is life, and the color is red, and the disciple is Judas. But red really speaks to me because it's vibrant and it's active, and I wear a lot of color. And one of my previous jobs, we did a what do they call that? Team building, and you had to use one word to describe your coworker, right? And the one word that they described me was colorful. So that's kind of life, you know. So I'm going to share a couple of affirmations that I found about life from Unity that I really like, and I'm going to share this with you to start with. So here's the first affirmation. I am aware that I am, as Tim just talked about the I am aware that I am life itself, and the living spirit lives as me. I am a healer and restorer. I conscientiously choose spiritual growth and evolution, and I joyfully energize and enliven all that is in service to my greatest good. And the second affirmation is, I am God's child, fully and eternally filled with Spirit's light and life. I rejoice in life, and my joys find expression in all my life's activities. So a couple of words that popped out of me in those affirmations, and I hope these resonate with you as well. Obviously, the Tim that just talked about the I am life, I and the living spirit living in me, healer, restorer, God's child, fully and eternally filled with Spirit's light and life. That kind of goes back to our daily word today about light. I rejoice in life, and my joy finds expression in all aspects of my life. This journey of life that we're on, it's worth taking for all of us. And we each have had and will have this road to continue down and our own chapters to write. And I hope that you do think about those chapters that you can write about your life. Several years ago, when I was getting ready to celebrate a significant birthday number, a group that I belonged to, a group of women, they were going to celebrate me, but I had homework to do before this celebration. And the homework that I was given was to think back on each decade of my life, starting from when I was born, so 1 to 10, 10 to 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on. And to think about each decade and a woman or women in that decade that changed my life or supported me in some way. So I sat down in my quiet time and started writing, and I thought back, I reflected on each decade, and I got to my 20s, and this revelation, this aha, this thing hit me. And there was something that happened in my life in my 20s that took away my identity. It was something that I had grown up with, that I had become, and it was taken away. And when I first realized that, I was like, oh, this is hard. But then I realized that all of those years, those decades before, and everything that I had come to that point, and once I lost that, it had all made me who I was at that day, at that time, at that next decade, and as I continued. So that was my life, you know, and looking back on that, that was very powerful. Good revelations. It was a great exercise for me to do, and that's the exercise that's the homework that I give you, is to think about your life in each decade and how that's impacted you and how it might have impacted other people. We all have, you know, I think about everybody's lives and how we're all busy. You know, we've got the young children that are off doing their own thing, and we have young parents that are trying to keep up with their kids and all of their activities, parents working full-time, juggling households, juggling children, and then you get into the older adult years, and there might be at certain ages you're still like trying to keep up with grandkids and maybe taking care of an elderly parent, so there's all kinds of activities that are life. But unity gives us that power of life to reflect back on, and all the powers kind of melded in together to help us live that best life that we can. Our God, our sweet Spirit, gives us each day, each year, each decade as a gift for our life, that we can live it forward and be the best that we can, using all the other powers. I feel like that the life power is kind of the basis of everything. So I'm going to read that one affirmation that I really liked as closing. Put yourself in this. I am aware that I am life itself, and that the living Spirit lives as me. I am a healer and restorer. I conscientiously choose spiritual growth and evolution, and I joyfully energize and enliven all that is in service to my greatest good. And last, I read for the meditation this little poem about the 12 powers, and it has all of the 12 powers in it. And there are copies in the back if you would like to pick one up and take it home. And I'm going to read it. Is it all right do you have it on a PowerPoint? I'm going to read it again so that you can hear it again, because it covers all of the powers. Only 5 we talked about today. Tim and I both kind of said, we need to do this again and do the other powers so that it educates us, and hope that it educates all of you. So, The 12 Powers Shape My Life by Reverend Margot Ford. I choose to live my life with zeal, and every moment faith to feel, so strength can be what I am about through release of all of doubt. I have power to succeed and the wisdom that I need to let order out of chaos reign through understanding on a deeper plane. My imagination lights a million fires. My will gives shape to each desire. So life is good, fulfilled, and free, and love is who I will always be. That's the end of our Board of Trustees talks on the 12 powers. I'm going to ask Colleen back up to do announcements, but first it wasn't in the announcements. For those of you that weren't here last night, we had so much fun. We did movie night last night. We had 21 people. We had pizza and popcorn and candy, and thank you, Kevin, for setting up our theater. We just had a great time. We're going to do it again. So thanks, everybody. And Colleen.
All right. Well, I will go ahead and share our announcements. Next Sunday is our annual Irish Music Sunday. So John Wiseman will be joined by guest musician Cole Latimer. Be sure to invite friends and family for this special service. I'm very much looking forward to it. Easter flowers are available to order in celebration of friends and family or in memory of loved ones who have made their transition. You may order flowering plants of Easter lilies, tulips, or daffodils for $16. The plants will decorate the sanctuary for Easter, and we'll have a slideshow during the service featuring the names of those we wish to honor. You may purchase the flowers by using the link in the Friday e-news or by completing our form on our website or app or at the book counter. Emil Toth recently completed his newest book, Walk With Me, a spiritual memoir. He is offering copies of it for a donation to Unity of Michiana, and you can choose the amount. And request that you write a review after you read it. Books are located in the foyer. The Wednesday Zoom group is taking a break and will resume on March 22nd. All right, and now we'll move into our offertory. So as a reminder, you may give a tithe by going to our website and clicking the yellow donate button or by using our app. There is also a basket in the back of the sanctuary where you may place your offering, or you may scan a QR code on the door as you leave the sanctuary. And please join me in our offertory affirmation. With a grateful heart, I celebrate God's abundance as I give freely and receive with joy. We thank you, Spirit, for the abundance that you give us today and each day. And with that, we will move to our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, then let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be. With God our Creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me, let this be our moment now. With every step I take, let this be a solemn vow to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
All right, and we will close with our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, everyone.
Letting go, oh, of holding on. Our God is our shepherd, and I shall not want. I'm letting go of holding on. Seeking first the kingdom of God. We let go of the feelings that feed on lack and greed. I let go of the reason in me, in me. Let go of the reason that there's ever enough. And stop holding on to what is not love. Letting go, oh, of holding on. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. I'm letting go, oh, holding on. Seeking first the kingdom of God. We breathe out and we breathe out. It's all give and take. We're one for each other, and for goodness sake, the loaves and the fishes were blessed and released. What was enough turned into a feast, letting go of holding on. God is my shepherd, I shall not want. I'm letting go of holding on. Seeking first the kingdom of God. Seeking first the kingdom of God.